Okay guys, welcome back to my channel. Y'all, life has been life and the devil has been super busy in my life, okay? Y'all know I committed to reading this Bible every day for the entire year of 2023, right? Okay, so I don't even know, I'm on day 31 of this year and already the devil has like jumped in and like tried to thwart all my attempts to get closer to Black Jesus and get, better, in this thing called life here, spiritual growth and everything. So today I wanted to finish the book of Genesis. I want to finish the book of Genesis. I only had 6 chapters left. Like, come on. I mean, seriously, only 6 chapters left. So I'm going to go through chapter 45 through 50. It was a lot going on, 45 through 50, but we're going to get through chapters 45 through 50, okay? So, all right. So, in chapter 44, remember, they found, or he tested them by putting his cup in Benjamin's bag and to see how they would respond and to see, what would happen if they were caught with this thing, like what their argument would be or whatever. So that's what happened last in chapter 44, that they had found the cup in Benjamin's bag. They were trying to come back to Joseph to, tell him, hey, no, we didn't do this. I don't know what happened, but this is what we need to do to fix this. We're going to be your slaves, whatever. Okay, so in chapter 45, Joseph couldn't keep it together. Like, he was trying to, hold on to his charade, but he couldn't keep it together. So he ordered everybody except for the brothers out of the room. And when he was in the room with them alone, he just cried. He wept. And he told his brothers who he was, but he told them not to be afraid, not to worry, be reassured that even though they had did an evil thing, God had set him up for good, and that it prepared the way for him to be able to save his family, and that their evil plot paved the way for such a time as that, and such a time as then, when they were short on food, and they were short, and he was the only way that they were going to be able to survive the famine. So he told them, hey, let's put it behind us. It's okay. God knew that you guys were going to do that. God knew that you were going to be the way that y'all were to me. Y'all were going to treat me the way that y'all treated me. But he designed it so that even in that situation, I would be set up for success and prosperous. So Pharaoh had heard about it, and he was super happy that his family was there. His brothers were there. And he told them to go back. Joseph told them to go back and get their father and let him know everything and bring him back to them and let him know that he was the ruler over Egypt, even ruler over Pharaoh's house, and he was over the guard and over the grains. Like everybody was coming to him for everything, that he was the man in charge. Like, he was like, no, tell daddy that I'm good. Like, I'm living good. I'm living large. And that he wanted to see him before he died. Like, he wanted to see his father before he died. He knew his father was old, because he was old when he was born. Him and Benjamin. He was old when the two of them were born. So that was the end of chapter 45. Now, chapter 46 was when they went back. They told their dad that Joseph was alive, and Joseph he didn't believe them. He was like, no, why would you tell me this? But they reassured him he was alive and that he was the ruler over everything. So they were like, he wants you to come back with us, leave everything you have here. Here's all the stuff that he presented to us, and you come on and you come back with us. So he gathered his things, gathered his family, and they went to Beersheba, and that's where they went to make a sacrifice to God. And at that time, God gave him a vision, and he reminded him that he was going to make his descendants so great that he wouldn't even be able to count them. And he took his entire family to Egypt. And then the rest, or most of the rest of the chapter, just outline his lineage, like his children, his children's children, their children, wives, brother, everything, just outlined everything. And then he told Judah to go ahead of him to prepare for his arrival to Goshen. And then Joseph came down to Goshen, and when he saw his father, they held each other and cried for a long time. And he told his father, when Pharaoh came to him, to tell him he was a shepherd, because shepherds weren't allowed to be in certain parts of the land, but they he would find favor with Pharaoh, and Pharaoh would allow him to stay in the place where he said that he wanted to stay. And that's basically, which is Goshen. And that's basically the end of chapter 46, y'all. It was good. Like, y'all really got to get into these books. Like, it's really, really good. Genesis overall, which I did not realize, was a really, really good book to read to start. It's the book of beginnings, but it was a really good book. Okay, so back to explaining. So chapter 47. In chapter 47, Joseph went to Pharaoh to pave the way for his family, and that's when he told him his father and his brother were coming, and then Pharaoh put his brothers in charge of his livestock. And Jacob, or Israel, Jacob's name was changed to Israel. He blessed Pharaoh, and Pharaoh allowed them to stay in the land of Ramses, which I believe is in Goshen. And then the famine got really bad. Really bad. So remember, Joseph was setting up his household and his people for success, because as people were coming to get grain, they were like giving them silver. Now they're at the point where they're running out of silver. Okay. They're running out of silver. Now they're like, oh, what do you want us to die? Why should we die? We done gave you all of our silver. We need food to eat. You have grain. What do you want from us? The only thing that we have left is our livestock. So he was like, okay, well then sell me your livestock and I'll give you grain. Sell me your livestock, I'll give you seed. So they did all of that. So then after that, their livestock was gone. So then they were like, well, look, you done took our livestock, took our silver. We don't have anything left but our land and our bodies, like us as slaves. So take our land and give us food so that we can live. But that's all we have. And he was like, that's fine. Give me your land, and here's the seed to put in the land so that you can harvest. But when you harvest, you owe us a fifth of your harvest. You owe us a fifth of your crops. And that one thing right there set Pharaoh up to own all the land of it. Like, he literally owned everything. He was in control of everything. He was in control of everybody. Everybody worked for him. He was just in control. So then it was basically time for Israel to die. And he told Joseph to come into him, and he made him make a promise that he would bury him where his father and his father's father and all of those people were buried. And that was the end of chapter 47. Okay? Alright, it's getting good, right? We only got 3 more chapters. Just 3 more chapters. Okay, so 48. In 48, Jacob was at the end, and he wanted to tell Joseph of a vision that God had given him. So he had made Ephraim and Manasseh, he made them his heirs, and that they would inherit first as his children, and then the brothers after him would inherit from their father instead of him. So they get a part of the inheritance from Israel, but the other children that Joseph would have would get inheritance from their father. And I guess that's how it's supposed to be. Like, the first 2 grandsons belong to the grandfather, and then the rest belong to the father. Then he wanted to bless them. He wanted to give them the blessing. So y'all know about the blessing where Rachel, was it Rachel or Rebecca? It was either Rachel or Rebecca. Whichever one was the mother of Jacob and Esau. Remember, their mom set it up so they would trick their father into giving the blessing to the younger. Well, in this sense, Jacob was trying to give the blessing, the birthright blessing, to the second son, even though the first son was Manasseh. But he was like, no. I know that I'm supposed to, but the younger is going to be greater than the older. So he gave the first blessing to the younger, but he told the first son, listen, you're going to be great too, but your brother is just going to be greater than you. And he told him everything, and he also told Joseph that he would inherit the land that he conquered in the days of his father. So that basically was chapter 48. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I would be pissed. Like, if I was standing there and my grandfather took me in as his heir and told me that he was going to bless me, but then I'm the oldest and he giving my birthright or giving my portion of the inheritance to my brother, I would be mad. But you know, that's how God moves. God does things out of order. He shakes our traditional order up and puts his own order in, because it's his order that's important anyway. So that's what happened in chapter 48. In chapter 49, Israel broke down each of his sons' future. He told them the good and the bad. And then he blessed each one of them according to the measure that God told him to. And then afterwards, he gave instructions on where to bury him. And then he took his last breath, pulled his legs up in the bed, and died. That was chapter 49. That's it. It was succinct. It was very short, very succinct. Then chapter 50 was just Joseph giving his father a kiss and then giving the instructions to the people on how to embalm his father. Then it took 40 days to embalm him. Like, I don't know what the body was doing when they were doing this embalming process, but the bodies that happen nowadays, you don't have 40 days to do embalming. Like, you don't have 40 days, but they took 40 days to embalm, and then it was a whole 70 days that they mourned his father, Israel. That Egypt mourned Israel, okay? And then after they mourned, Joseph and all of Pharaoh's house, all the elders, and his immediate family, not his grandchildren and their households, but his immediate family went with him to actually bury him. Joseph cried for like 7 days, and then afterwards, that's when they actually buried him where he promised. And he lived for 147 years. Okay? 147 years. We can't even get to 50 nowadays because of what's going on with food and stuff. I'm sorry, I digress. So then the brothers thought Joseph had a grudge with them, and they were like, you know, trying to come up with a way to like ask for leniency or whatever, but they were like, oh, well, now that dad is dead, he's really gonna, you know, let us have it. But he was like, no. He was like, please, I'm telling you, everything is forgiven. God put me where he placed me. You may have done the deed, but God ordained what happened to me in order for me to bless as many people as I was able to bless. And I promise to take care of you and your families regardless. That's what he said. He said that to his brothers. He promised to take care of them and their families and to let it be what it was. And before he died, he made them promise to bury him a specific place. And he actually died at, well, he was 110 when he died. And they embalmed him as well. I don't know if it took 40 days, but they placed him in a coffin in Egypt. I thought he was supposed to get buried in Canaan. I didn't think that Canaan was a part of Egypt, but I could be wrong. I didn't think Canaan was a part of Egypt. Because when they talk about Egypt earlier on, they said in all the land of Egypt and Canaan. So I thought Canaan was separate. So I thought that's what they were going to bury him. But they said they put him in a coffin in Egypt. And that was the end of the chapter. It was a really, really good read, honestly. Chapter 1 through 50 was a really good read. I didn't realize that Joseph with the coat of many colors wasn't the Joseph that married Mary. So I thought they were the same, y'all. I thought they were the same, but they're not. Because he died before Jesus came. So, you know, you learn a lot of things. So that was it. with the book of Genesis. I'm going to start on my next read. I'm not sure if I'm going to go in order Genesis to Revelation, but I'm going to start on my next read for understanding the Bible in 2023, my journey to understanding the Bible in 2023. I really enjoyed Genesis. I hope you enjoyed these videos. I'm going to continue doing it. Whoever's going to watch them is going to watch them. Everything isn't for everybody. I have to tell myself this every time, because the minute that I think that video is going to go viral, I get 11 likes and then there you go. So I appreciate those that are watching it and leaving feedback. Let me know what your favorite part of the book of Genesis was in the comments below. Make sure that you share this with somebody that is trying to get a quick summary of each chapter. Of course, I didn't go into great detail. I got a lot of good stuff out of this book, and I am looking forward to talking to you guys in the next book that I embark on. Love you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.